Good evening, everyone. My name is Maria Trifosa, and I'm going to be the moderator for today's seminar. The presenter for today's seminar is Ulfah. She's going to present her research entitled Translation Strategies of the Setting of Places in Indonesian Translation of Elizabeth Kostovas, the Historian. There are two sections in the seminar. The seminar will start by Ulfah's presentation and followed by question and answer section. The judges will deliver their question first. For today, we have Gerald and Johannes, and then followed by the audiences. Ulfah, time is yours.
Maria. Maaf, share screen-nya masih disable. Okay, is my screen can be seen?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna start. Good evening, friends and Mr. Haris. Today I'm going to explain my paper. It's about the translation strategies of the setting of places in Indonesian translation of Elizabeth Kostovas, the historian. Okay, so The Historian is a historical novel, and in historical novels, setting of places is one of the most important elements, and it makes the translator duty to translate this section is quite critical. It is important not only to make sure that the message is delivered properly, but also has to be able to serve the function as the core element in the historical novel. However, in translating this section, the problems usually arise, and it can be from the words that have cultural value or ones that can be traced back in reality. So, in dealing with the problems, the translator has to use some translation strategies. Then these strategies also later will give influence to the equivalence chosen by the translator. And then for this paper, I employ the translation strategies by Davis. He proposes 7 strategies in 2003. And then for the type of equivalence, I employ NIDA's type of equivalence. Then for the review of related theories, the first one is the theory of translation. I use from Catford in 1965. He stated, translation is the replacement of textual material in one language or the source language by equivalent textual material in another language or the target language. And then for the theory of equivalence, I also use the theory from Catford. It is also from the same year. He refers to equivalent as words that don't exactly have the same meaning, from TSL, but still can serve the same function in the given situation in the TL or target language. And then for this paper, I especially employed Nida's equivalence. He divides it to two types, that is formal and dynamic. And then for the theory of translation strategy, I used the theory from Krings in 1986 that state that the translation strategy refers to the ways that the translator come up with to tackle the problems that arise when completing the task of completing the translating task. Then for the method of the study, I use qualitative method as with specifically close attention to the element research, that is setting of the places in the historical novel. And then the data is collected from the primary source, both from the source language and the target language. And then I only use some parts of the objects that were taken as the samples. And my consideration is its importance to the overall plot of the story. And then we move on to the result and discussion. In this paper, there are 5 samples that will be discussed in this paper. And then for the strategies, I will introduce the ones proposed by Davis. For the first is preservation or maintain the word from DSL. And then addition, it is also maintain the word from DSL, but the difference is in the strategy, the translator also adds some information. And then omission, it is to omit the word due to no proper translation found. And then globalization, replacing specific word to a culture into a more general or neutral one. And then localization, refer to the word more to the culture of the TL instead of SL. And then transformation, or adjust the word from the original to be more familiar with the reader in the TL. And the last is creation, or create a new word that is different from in the SL, or even it is not mentioned before in the SL. And it is usually for proper names such as people's name or places name. And then for Nida's 2 type of equivalence, the first is formal equivalence. It refers to the equivalence which have the tendency to the SL or more focus on the source text. Meanwhile, dynamic equivalence refers to the equivalence that have tendency to the TL or more focus on the target text. And then we move on to the table 1, data number 1. Data number 1. In this case, author choose preservation strategy for Slavic and British isles, even though they have equivalence in KBBI, Slavia, and Kepulauan Inggris. The uses of the strategy can be seen from the words that being transferred without any changes. And it is like the words being literally translated or being literally just rewrite from TSL to the TL. The reason might be the terms is arguably already widely known and included the reader or the audience from the TL. And so the author assume that the reader would face no difficulties in understanding the term. And then these strategies also applied for the words Fienistico and Renaissance, even though the another reason is the Fienistico is a specific name of design, whereas Renaissance is the name of an era. Then for the table 2, data number 2, in this case, the translator choose to employ localization as the strategy to deal with the word Polish, which in Indonesian being translated into perpelitur. Based on Cambridge Online Dictionary, polish means to make something become shiny, or the action of rubbing something with something to make it shiny. Meanwhile, in Indonesian, based on KBBI, the pelitur is the synonym of the word polish from English and has the meaning of cat yang membuat permukaan benda menjadi mengkilat. In this translation, the translator choose to use meja-meja yang berpermukaan halus instead of meja yang berpelitur, even though pelitur is the closest or the synonym of the word. It is because it is easier to understand from the TL. Because berpelitur is quite specific in furniture making, and maybe not all reader will be familiar with the word pelitur. And then for table 3, data number 3, in this case, the translation once again use localization when translating the lamp with a glass chimney, which is being translated into lampu teplok. Looking at the English phrase, Indonesian truly has the same thing with the same description, that is lampu teplok. Lampu teplok is used a long time ago when there was no electricity yet, or when it is still scarce. It is still scarce, and not everyone had the access for it. And then this choice of the closest equivalence generally will be easy to understand by Indonesian readers, as they still can look for the reference for it. And then for data number 4, in this case, the translator employ addition strategy for the word vellum. This strategy preserved the term vellum from SL, but edit with some information, as the word itself is not yet have its equivalent in the TL, and the translator thought the addition is necessary to the reader for to understand the meaning. And then vellum is a paper from animal. There's no equivalence in KBBI yet. And the another word, there is vellum with single L, is has meaning that is different altogether from the vellum. That means kertas dari kulit binatang. And then the addition strategy can be seen from the translation, that is separated by sorry I use Indonesian tanda strip after vellum dari sejenis kertas dari kulit binatang. It is the edit information for vellum. And then for the last data number 5, in this last case, the translation also use preservation strategy for the word abse. This word doesn't have its equivalence in KBBI yet, and then and so the translator choose to preserve the word by transferring it as it is from DSL to the TL. Based on Cambridge Online Dictionary, abse refers to the area with curved wall at the end of the building, usually at the east end of a church. Then conclusion, the translation strategies that I use in this paper are preservation, localization, and addition. Data number 1 and 5 are use preservation as their strategies. Data number 4 use addition, and the data number 2 and 3 use localization as their strategies. And then there is indeed a relationship between the translation strategy use and the chosen equivalence when the translator dealing with the words that have cultural value as well as ones that can be traced back in reality, especially places. Okay, that's enough for me. Thank you. Back to Maria.
Thank you so much, Ulfah, for the presentation. Start the question and answer section. We will start with the judges first, Gerald and Johannes. We will start with Gerald first. Gerald?
All right. I just want to comment first, but I'm still preparing my question. So I want to give a suggestion for Ulfah, and also sorry, I'm not good. Yeah, I have some suggestion because from the paper that Ulfah already prepared, I found that it's not follows the format that is by Sehari, so it will make us becomes a little harder to read your paper, and also I like your way to present your materials, and also I just want to suggest that I hope the next maybe you can develop how you could present by not stuck in reading the text of your PPT. And I think Johannes would do first this question first because I'm still prepare my question.
Okay, thank you for the suggestion, Gerald.
All right.
The next judges is Johannes, and I think he's not here. So maybe we can continue with the audiences who wants to deliver their question.
I want to ask. Hello.
Oh, Johannes is here.
Yes.
Johannes can deliver his question first, I think.
I think your material is good, but the presentation is not clear. I don't have question for your thesis.
Okay. Can you be more specific about or suggestion like Gerald has said about which part of the presentation is not actually?
I mean the presentation is clear, but nggak lancar tuh loh maksudnya. Kayak gitu.
Sorry, I quit nervous. So my voice is not clearly heard, or it is quite or too fast when reading the presentation.
Nggak lancar aja ngomongnya gara-gara nervous kayaknya.
I apologize for that. I'm quite nervous actually. So thank you for the suggestion.
I'm sorry, Ulfah. May I know what indicator that you use as your translation strategy?
Sorry, what do you mean by indicator?
I mean like the translation strategy by maybe like Mr. Nababan indicator or Vina Endal Burnett.
Oh, yeah. The theories.
Yeah, the theories.
I use from Davis. It is in introduction. I mentioned about it. There are 7 strategies by Davis, which he proposed in 2003.
What kind of 7 strategies that used by Davis?
Okay, so there are preservation or maintain the word from the source language, addition, maintain the word from the SL and add some information, then omission or omit the word due to no proper translation found, and then globalization or replacing specific word to a culture into a more general or neutral one. And then localization, it refers to the word that is more have the tendency to the culture of the TL. And then transformation, adjust the word from the original to be more familiar with the reader in the TL. And then the last is creation, create a new word that is different from in the SL or even it hasn't mentioned before, and it usually for proper names. Is it clear, Carol? Carol?
I got it.
Is there another question?
Still prepare for it.
Okay, I will wait.
I think Josephine wants to deliver her question.
Yes. I want to ask, what is your main reason of choosing the Catford theory for this paper than the other theory?
Okay, you mean in theory of translation and equivalence,
Yes.
Josephine? Okay, so I choose from Catford because it is easier to understand, I guess, than other theories. Yeah, because it is easier to understand for me, and it is like has been cited by many researchers as well. I think that's the reason.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Josephine.
And there is a question by Yamima. Why did you implement the FISC strategy? Is there any valid reason?
Sorry, Maria, can you repeat the question?
There is a question by Yamima.
Okay.
Why did you implement the FISC strategy? Is there any valid reason?
I choose Davis among other theories because his categories is once again like just the theory of translation equivalence. It is easier to understand than other strategies proposed by other theories, and it is also quite clear or clearer for the explanation for each category, like preservation is maintained, blah blah blah, and then addition, omission, globalization. It is easier also to remember. Yeah, that's the reason.
There is another question by Yamima. Are you happy with the overall of your proposal?
For the proposal, maybe I'm quite happy, but for the presentation, not really, because I guess I like quite nervous, so I failed to present it well to the audience.
Okay, thank you.
I still have one question because I'm still not clear enough with why Ulfah choose localization as the translation strategy for the third data. Is it? I think it's more suitable if it's used preservation or because from what I get from paper is not give us the example of what is localization, what is preservation. So I think preservation also could use as the translation strategy for the data tray. Because I just think that if just if Ulfah use localization just by looking for the object of the target text that's being translated lampu teplok, I think still not enough, because I think it's translated as one line and not translating by word.
Okay, you mean
Maybe you can elaborate more detail about why you choose localization
okay,
as your
data number 3, right?
best.
Okay, let's look back to the definition for localization. This strategy referred the word from SL to a more culture from the TL, or it means the translator will choose localization if he try to reverse the word from the SL to a more in the TL, and he also employs the culture of the TL when translating the word. And in the data number 3, we have a lamp with a glass chimney. That if we translate it by word, it will be like lampu yang ini ya, ada kacanya, dan chimney itu kan seperti yang rapian itu loh, yang nah, so in this data, I think the translator used localization because he immediately translate a lamp with a glass chimney into lampu teplok, which we know that lampu teplok is very Indonesian, right? Very with local culture in Indonesia. I don't think there are also like lampu teplok in another language. It will be with different description maybe. And this is, I think, why I think the translator use localization for the strategy. And I don't think it is preservation, because preservation is maintain the word from TSL. That means the word is still original from TSL. And if the data number 3, the translator uses preservation, it will be still like lampu with kaca yang seperti apa gitu, instead of lampu teplok.
I got it. Because I'm not really familiar with your translation strategy, because so that's why I asked why you use localization. I got your point, because from what you deliver that because it's the translator use the localization for interpreting the glass.
Chimney.
Lamp with a glass. Okay, I got it.
The strategies is not quite famous. Yeah, it's not quite famous among other theories, maybe. So it is not fun. There are no many people that familiar with his proposed strategies. It is understandable.
Is there any more question from the audiences or judges? Yeah, Mima, you can say it directly to Ulfah.
Yeah, I agree with Jemima. Maybe for the next presentation, of could be better if she not really stuck with reading the text.
Okay, I will try. Thank you very much for the suggestion.
Is there any comment or question? If there is no more question, we will close the seminar here. And thank you, Ulfah, for the presentation. It is very interesting and informative. And thank you for everyone for attending this seminar. See you in another seminar.
Maria, thank you.